Hey guys, if you want to see how I printed out my invitation and made my RSVP cards, keep watching. Really quick, I start off with my Cricut Explorer 2 and I put paper down on my 12 by 12 mat. It's the light grip mat that I'm using. The secret to my madness is with the blue light grip mat. It's easy to pull off the paper afterwards because the design is so intricate and it has lots of pieces that get cut. So that's why I like using the blue mat. So in Cricut Design, I'm using this design to cut out. So basically, I go ahead to make it. I hit continue. And I connect to my Explorer through Bluetooth. So yes, you can connect to your machine through Bluetooth. You can also connect using the wiring that they give you. But I like Bluetooth because I'm always moving. So I like my machine set to light cardstock because I feel that when it's set to just regular cardstock, it cuts a little bit deeper and then I see the lines on my mats. So in order for it not to get cuts on my mats, I do light cardstock. So everything is great, everything is good. I just hit the button on my machine. I hit the button on my machine and it starts measuring and cutting. So this room is actually my beauty room that I use. It's a lot happening in here. It's a hot mess and I have lots of wedding stuff going on in here. So there's things everywhere. There's makeup literally everywhere. There's paper everywhere. But basically you just need some space that you can put your machine on and that will allow to work. So I've learned the hard way that having my machine on top this little bookshelf type thing where I keep my shoes, I needed space. So I had to move it out a couple inches, maybe 12 at least inches away from the back of the wall because the machine then has the paper sliding in and out. So yeah, I've had a time where my machine fell over because it wasn't far enough away. So make sure your machine is far away from the wall that you have space. So as you can see, it's doing the first thing and it's still cutting it. I'll be back to what I said. So the paper that I'm using for this project is this silvery, metallic-y, you can't really tell off this big sheet, but off this little sheet you can see that it's kind of metallic-y. And so I laid this side down on the mat for the Cricut just because I wanted to, when I fold it, for the metallic-y part to show. So as you can see, this side is like plain gray, and then the other side, it's where the metallic-y part is. So it's done. I'm just gonna pull this off, and I'm gonna pull the paper off and show you. So this, I'm gonna pull the paper off. As you can see, the metallic part is on this side. So I don't know if you can see all these little hairs and stuff on there. That's from my sweater. I had on a sweater, and I've noticed that when I wear my sweaters or if I wear like black shirts and stuff, it tends to transfer to the mat. So FYI, make sure you have no sleeves or make sure you take off sweaters or whatever that can transfer onto the paper. Remember when I was telling you about saving your excess paper? So this is what I got after I pulled this off. So I have at least this much paper left, and this is what I'm going to use for my RSVP card. Save your paper, people. Save your paper. So to help me get the paper off, I start with this and I just pull up the edges so I can get it off. I'm not sure what it's called. It looks like a little spatula, but it is from Cricut. And then I just go ahead and start pulling this off. This paper comes right off this mat. If I were using a standard mat, which is the green one, it would take more force to get this paper off. So this is my finished thing that I just pulled off. So to get all of this excess paper off, I use my, I don't know, scraper. And this thing I swear by. I had to buy another one because my fiance threw my other one away by mistake. Yeah, I wasn't happy about that. But so this thing I swear by it. It literally just it picks up everything. So like I scrape it in the trash. I'm gonna do it in the trash, but it just scrapes right off. And you can keep on going. I have 2 blue mats and 3 green mats. I like to have extra mats because I'm doing such a big project. So it's good to have extra mats on deck. So because I have an extra mat, I'm just gonna leave the other one alone for a minute. So my excess paper that I have, I like to cut. I have a cutter. You can use the scissors. I'm just gonna cut the edges off, and I'm gonna cut it down to 8.5, because that's what's gonna go through my printer in order for me to use it to make my RSVP cards. So, this is about the length that I cut out from the excess piece. It's like 8.5 inches in length. So I'm going to put that to the side, and I'm going to show you what I do on my computer. So I opened up what I have. Let me move it to the middle so you can see. So basically right now, this is all attached into one thing. So it comes out together. So I'm going to detach it down here. And so now when I move it, my written pieces that the Cricut writes for me is all moved. So I like to move that over, and I'm just going to work with this piece. So right now this piece is white. You can't really see the shape of it. So I have to unflatten it because mine is flattened. So I'm going to click unflattened, and now you can see this is the shape and those are the words. I'm going to move this over again. And so these are just my text, what's going to be printed. So I know it's going to be printed because when I select it over here, it shows you print, print, and print. And then same thing for this, it's all printed. So those will be all printed for me. So if I'm going to change the color of this shape so you can see it. So this is my shape, and this is what it looks like. So basically, in order for my print to come out and for it to all look good, I have to put it all together. So I like to put it, I like to eyeball it. So about like that is what I want it to print out to look like. But I'm going to change it back to white because I need it to print out as like white. So I'm going to change that back to white. So then it goes that you can't see it again. But I have to flatten it. In order for me to get this to print out and for it to cut on the Cricut, I need to flatten it. So I click flatten, and that would make sure, I had to learn this the hard way, because when I didn't flatten it before, I just would attach it. It would cut out my letters when it got to the Cricut, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me what I was doing wrong. So in order for you to print and cut, you need to flatten it together. Okay, so now that that's flattened, all of this is together. Oh, I missed a piece. So you have to make sure you get all of it together. So I'm going to unflatten that and make sure this is moved to the front. Put that back right here, and then re-flatten it. Okay, so now everything's together. So for these pieces, I just want to make sure they're moved to the front. And that's going to go right there. And this, I'm going to move it. I'm using my move buttons. So I'm going to move this right here. And up, see that went to the back. So I have to make sure I move this backwards. And there was my line. And then make sure this is moved to the front. And put my M. So there's my picture. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to attach all of this together. So my RSVP is going to be written, and I know that because when I click on it, this says write, and that's the kind of pen that I have on my Cricut. So I'm going to click that, and for my M, it's the same thing, which is right here, and it says write. So you also want to always want to check your layers to make sure it's doing what you want it to do. And so I'm going to collect all of this and then move it to up there. And then you're going to press make it. So when you press make it, you're going to take your paper and put this in your printer. You have to have a printer in order to print. The Cricut does not print for you. It can only write with the pen that it comes with. Again, make sure you put your paper in your printer before this step. You're going to hit continue, and then you're going to send it to your printer. I have an Office Jet 6600, and you want to click the bleed off, or else it's going to kind of bleed through the paper or smudge on the paper, and I don't want that. So you hit that button, and then you just click print. So it's going to send it to your printer for you. So for my printer, I know that I need to put the metallic side face down in order for it to actually print on that side. So that's what I did, and you see it came out with the box around it. That's for the Cricut, so the Cricut knows where to cut and things like that. So I added my paper to the Cricut mat, and I added my pen, which is a 0.4 black pen. And so I'm gonna just press this after I load it in there, and it's gonna start scanning the lines. The lines print out so it can be a guide for the Cricut to write and cut and all that extra stuff. So it basically uses that light to scan the image to make sure it's cutting and writing where it's supposed to, and then it just does its thing, and I will show you that. So it just got done writing, so now it's gonna cut the piece out. And then you just take it out, and that's it. And that's the final project.